The mainstream media put forward their best investigative journalists this week to uncover that conservative organizations are joining forces to unseat Calgary Mayor Jyoti Gondek. Now, I don't know that we needed the media to tell us that conservatives don't like Gondek, one of the most unpopular, if not the most unpopular Calgary mayor of all time. But if they're not in the business of lying, then they're in the business of stating the obvious. Never mind that the recall effort will not be successful. Petitioner Landon Johnston said himself on this very show that it's statistically impossible for him to achieve the threshold of over 500,000 signatures. That isn't stopping the lamestream media from running cover for Gondek, and nor did it stop two grandmas from defacing a Recall Gondek campaign sign earlier this week. Now, the Calgary police have said they're investigating, but let's not kid ourselves. We know they will not be pressing charges. When it comes to the media and the police alike, they're only interested in targeting one type of person. And if you're watching the show, there's a good chance you're one of them. I'm Rachel Emmanuel, and this is the Alberta Roundup. Okay, everyone, taking a look at our first story here. Calgary police say they are investigating after a Recall Mayor Jyoti Gondek campaign sign was defaced this week. A video circulating online shows two elderly women spray painting over a Recall Gondek sign and rewriting Respect Gondek over it. Police say officers were called to Parkdale Boulevard Northwest and 30th Street Northwest around 10:20 a.m. on Tuesday, March 19th for reports of property damage to a billboard on a grassy median. Take a look at this video.
Where are you ladies? What's your names? You're despicable. You're absolutely despicable.
Thank you.
Both of you.
Thank you.
You should be thrown in jail for this.
Really?
Yes.
City police say they're continuing to investigate after two women, Karen Motka and Carolyn Pogue, painted over the message on the sign to read Respect Gondek. Pogue, who posted selfies with a paintbrush next to the face signs on Facebook, also wrote, "Respect is such a beautiful word. Hope we can try some for our elected mayor." Later in the week, it was revealed that the roadside sign didn't have a required permit, and I bet we can expect the city to drop their investigation. On Friday, Calgary Mayor Jyoti Gondek met with petitioner Landon Johnston to discuss his efforts to recall her and what he perceives to be wrong with Calgary City Council. Here's what Johnston had to say about it.
I'm okay with the conversation the way it went, and I'm just not happy with the resolution, right? She's still the mayor.
Johnston also said him and the mayor discussed affordability, public safety, and the mayor's declaration of a climate emergency. Here's how Gondek responded following the meeting.
He genuinely started a petition to raise awareness of the issues that he thought council had not addressed. I had a very good opportunity to explain to him the investments that we are making and the types of things we are doing.
Moving into our next story here, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith told an energy conference in Houston that her government will double oil and gas production and be carbon neutral by 2050. Afterwards, Smith wrote on X, quote, "We can and we will." And that's the message I just delivered to our American friends and investors at Sierra and Houston just moments ago. Alberta is the answer. While speaking, Smith also said she was disappointed that Environment and Climate Change Minister Stephen Guilbeault announced in July he wanted to impose a net zero electricity grid by 2035. And we know that Danielle Smith has been trying to convince her federal counterparts to push that deadline to 2050. And when she was back from the US, Danielle Smith was asked how her fuel tax is different from the federal carbon tax, as both are slated to go up on April 1st. Here's how the Premier responded.
Well, one thing I would say is that we have a fuel tax that adjusts with the price at the pump. And I wish the federal government would do the same thing. Theirs just keeps going up. Ours, on the other hand, when WTI hits $90 a barrel again, ours will be coming completely off.
Taking a quick look at the scene in Edmonton's River Valley, Deputy Chief Warren Drekel is warning that parts of Edmonton's once pristine River Valley are becoming unusable because of homeless encampments. Take a look at this video.
I think Edmonton likes to pride itself. We've got the, world's largest or North America's largest uninterrupted park system. And there's parts of it that are becoming unusable for people. This is all along Dawson Park here. This has been a really big entrenched encampment for us for a long time. Litter that's strewn about here, really hard to clean up, right? Because you try to get what you can, but if you're going to miss things like the needles and stuff, so just be careful when you're walking around. This was the encampment where, if people remember, where we took the cache of weapons out of. came out of this set of encampments through here. There's a whole series of trails and smaller encampments that are littered about. But you can see that even just there, like, these are almost becoming impossible to clean up. This is a spot that we've been working on for weeks, literally trying to clean up. And you can still see there's extensive amount of garbage in here.
Later in the video, the chief shows that there are houses just above the encampment, and he went on to say that due to provincial government policies, the police are able to get people out of these encampments and into the help they need. Taking a look at our next story here, homeowners in Calgary are bracing for an even higher than expected property tax increase this year, and Calgary Mayor Jyoti Gondek is blaming the hike on the province. Take a listen.
If they had wanted to bring down that amount, they could have changed their rate, but they didn't. So they are benefiting from higher property values and taking their full share, and that means an increase on your provincial share of property taxes that we didn't necessarily anticipate.
The municipal portion of the tax bill has dropped to 7.2% from 7.8%, while the province is taking 11.5%. Alberta's Minister of Municipal Affairs, Rick McIver, said Calgary's increase in property taxes has nothing to do with the provincial government. In a statement, he said, quote, "The education property tax is an important revenue source that helps support the growing population of students and the need to build new schools, hire new teachers and education assistants." Moving into our controversy of the week, members of Edmonton City Council are getting an automatic pay raise for the second year in a row. And now Amory Sohi is among the highest paid mayors in the country. He also makes more than Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. Salaries are going up 2.41% in 2024, the same rate as last year. Raises were revealed in a January 17 memo to council made public on the city's open data website last week. Increases are automatic as they were set using a regulatory mechanism in a council policy last reviewed in 2020. Mayor Amory Sohi's base salary for 2024 is $216,585. That's up from just over $211,000 in 2023. Edmonton City Councilor's base salary is $122,363. That's up from just over $119,000 in 2023. The Edmonton salaries are comparable to, but slightly higher than their Calgary counterparts. Calgary Mayor Jyoti Gondek's base salary is $213,737, and councillors will be paid $120,755 in 2024. Those figures don't include other benefits and spending accounts. But Amory Sohi's pay stands out as among the highest in major Canadian cities for mayors, with the pay for the city of Markham mayor being the highest at over $260,000. For contrast, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith's salary in 2023 was $186,180. And finally, moving into our watching in the weeks to come, as the city ushers in the spring season under persistent drought conditions, Calgary officials are hinting at the imminent need for water conservation orders for the second consecutive year. The potential of outdoor water restrictions as early as May comes in response to a forecast predicting warmer than usual temperatures, raising alarms over the city's water supply sustainability. Calgary Mayor Jyoti Gondek said Calgarians have reduced water consumption over the last 20 years. She said the city is taking less water from the river than it did in 2003, with a population that has increased by 500,000. This April, Calgary will begin a campaign called Together We Can Make Every Drop Count, which aims to provide Calgarians with ways to conserve and consume water. Here's what Calgary Mayor Jyoti Gondek had to say about it.
Holding off on doing laundry until you've got a full load. Same thing goes with the dishwasher. Wait until you've got a full load. Taking shorter showers. We can certainly set timers and get into better habits about shower length and turning off the tap while you're shaving or brushing your teeth.
The city will also contribute to saving water, saying in a news release that its vehicles will be less sparkling clean, that park spaces will be less green, and that fountain displays will operate less frequently. When outdoor water use is required, Calgary will be more prudent about how it is used. The city plans to reuse stormwater to water golf courses, park spaces, and flower baskets, and use an efficient irrigation system, which uses 30% less water to keep sporting turfs in good condition. Okay, everyone, and finally, moving into our weekly comment roundup, you might remember that last week I was removed from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's press conference. Actually, I wasn't even allowed in the room. Wasn't even allowed to stand next to one of the Prime Minister's vehicles while I waited for him to exit the building and head out, for fear that one of my questions might offend the Prime Minister's beloved ears. Let's see what you guys had to say about it. User Donna Fleming said, "How did we end up with such a horrible leader? How is it that there is no way to remove a prime minister that works against Canadians? I think that would be a good question to ask NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, and maybe we should finally have that talk about mass immigration. Moving into our next comment here, user John C. said, Red Deer School Board speaks for us. We are your base. We are ultra conservatives. Do not cast doubt on Red Deer policy. No pronouns, no rainbow flags. Danielle, hear us. I am right on side with you. Danielle Smith said last week that she was concerned about a policy from the Red Deer Catholic School Board, which would ban pronouns in emails from staff and in course outlines. It would also ban pride flags. I think the Red Deer Catholic School Board is making the right move. And finally, user Luann Cortlet said in response to a comment giving me a compliment, she said, our Burmese python is more beautiful. I think she was saying that a Burmese python is more beautiful than me. And hey, I'm not going to argue with that. There's nothing I love more than being out in nature and looking at all the amazing creatures that God designed and how creative and unique he was with each and every one of them. I personally would not want a snake for a pet, but I think we can all agree that it is incredibly amazing and beautiful to look at. Okay, everyone, that is all that I have time for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, please like this video and subscribe to True North. You can support our work over at donate.tnc.news. I hope that you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you next week. God bless.